9 is the best map on Black Ops 4. And unfortunately, that's not saying a whole lot because this map kind of just wins by default. When you compare it to the rest of the maps that actually came out for Black Ops 4, what do you really have going on? You know what I mean? You have a very poorly done remake of Mob of the Dead. You have Classified, which is the easier remake of 5, but I mean, 5 is cool, Classified is cool, you know what I mean? Then you have Voyage of Despair, and when you try and compare this to Voyage of Despair, it's like trying to compare apples and oranges. Like, they're just so entirely different. I actually think that the layout of this map is kind of cool. You have one central point, and then you have 4 anchor points that go off and meet at another central point underneath. As far as I know, there's not really any other zombie map that kind of works like that, and so I can appreciate it for that. All right, trial complete. 6 equipment kills. That should be easy, but I don't know. 9 overall is just like a very well-designed map, but like I say, it kind of just wins by default, comparatively speaking. I mean, the other map that's like really good is Ancient Evil. I actually really like Ancient Evil. It's kind of like this game's version of Origins, to be honest. And it is kind of sad that we're just getting different versions of Origins because Origins was so good that Jason Blundell just kind of continued with that formula. But honestly, I think that's okay. I think it's okay for maps to take inspiration from other versions of itself. Does that make any sense? Is that English? Hey, there's our Pack-a-Punch pistol. You love to see it. You love to see it. All right, let's get going. We'll go start setting up some Pack-a-Punches. In other news, the European Commission actually approved the Activision acquisition, which is interesting considering that the UK didn't allow it to go through. Now, obviously, they're two different kind of commissions, clearly, but I almost wonder if the EU allowing that to go through will influence the decision of the UK, because I guess there's a couple of things that also still need to go through. The UK needs to approve it, obviously. That's one of the big ones. I guess the US also needs to approve it, but the EU, the reason that they said they allowed it to go through is because the entire acquisition, the big game that is the deciding reason as to whether or not it goes through is Call of Duty. That is just the truth. And the EU Commission seems to think that Call of Duty isn't as important in the acquisition as Sony makes it out to be, because it's Sony that's combating this whole thing, right? So they seem to say that because of all the titles that are actually in there, there are plenty of reasons that Microsoft would want to acquire this, not just because of COD. And I think that's definitely true. I mean, COD is a huge deciding factor. Like, the IP across all platforms brings in like a couple $2 billion a year, which is absurd. And so it would make sense that these different countries allowing the acquisition to go through upon, I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about, but really I have no idea what's going on. I'm just kind of repeating what I've heard. But the point is, they have allowed it to go through, and so I'm kind of wondering if it actually is going to influence the decisions of the other commissions. Like, is the UK going to allow this to go through because the EU did? And same with the States. Are the States going to allow it to go through? If I'm being honest, my assumption is yes. But also maybe I'm entirely wrong. Maybe they're just deciding that it shouldn't go through because it actually is a monopoly with how many companies and IPs that Microsoft has been picking up. It definitely is something to consider. I mean, like, monopolizing things is serious, you know what I mean? Hey, there we go, this should be fun. There's a lot of things to consider, like what does Microsoft have planned for the IP? Clearly with Activision, when you acquire them, you're taking on a lot of IPs, right? You're taking on, I believe Spyro the Dragon is in there, the Tony Hawk franchise is going to be in there, so it's more than just Call of Duty. However, Call of Duty is the big franchise and it needs to be considered. Thought I'd have enough for points for the gun, apparently not. Whoops. Wouldn't mind a Tiger round right now, but I don't know. I don't know about all the legal stuff that it has to do. I don't really care about the politics of whatever is going on with this. As a fan of Call of Duty, I just want good Call of Duties, and so I am kind of hopeful that the acquisition was going to give the IP Microsoft money and allow them to do the things that COD has been needing. You know, like investing lots of money into a great multiplayer that'll be good for multiple years and not just 1 year. A great zombies mode with good original maps, not just remakes of remakes. Like stuff that, I don't know, all the fans have been wanting for, unfortunately, a long time. And so I understand the worry of Microsoft taking it on, monopolizing it, it and doing what they want. There is, of course, the potential for them to make it Xbox exclusive because it is their property. They can do whatever they want. But I seem to find that Microsoft is very pro-consumer. That's what it feels like. Maybe I'm wrong. Because, you know, Phil Spencer seems to not be very big into the whole, like, exclusive IP stuff. It's why Xbox hasn't had any great exclusive games in a long time, is because he's all about selling consoles. He's all about selling subscriptions and stuff like that, which is why Game Pass is so huge. Now, it's not just because of Game Pass, you know? Like, I mean, I think overall it's that he just doesn't really care about the current IPs. He's looking at trying to get smaller exclusives, winning on the smaller level to get people to buy consoles. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't think Call of Duty is a console seller. Year over year, more and more people seem to be getting Call of Duty for PC anyway, right? And that's another argument that I've heard as to why Phil Spencer is talking about why console exclusives don't really matter, is because people just go out and buy a PlayStation, buy a PC, and you have access to all games. All games that are on Xbox eventually hit PC at some point or another. That seems to just kind of be the way to go. And to be fair, it does sell more games. You're opening up to a broader audience with more platforms than just one of the two major consoles. And I don't even know how I got to this conversation, but the point that I'm trying to make is I actually agree. I think Sony should just let it go. I genuinely and honestly don't think that Call of Duty is as big of a concern as Sony seems to think it is. Because let's be honest, people don't buy PlayStations for Call of Duty either. People buy PlayStations for the PlayStation exclusive games like The Last of Us and Uncharted, and my brain is slipping on the rest of the exclusives that are out there. But like you get what I'm trying to, you get the point I'm trying to make. The point of the matter is Call of Duty is not why people buy PlayStations, and therefore Sony should just kind of let it go. The other thing that Microsoft said is that when they do acquire it, because Sony is so concerned, they are willing to sign a contract that keeps Call of Duty on the PlayStation platform for at least the next 10 years. And once the 10 years is up, it still will remain on the platform. But here's the honest truth. Here's what it comes down to, right? Sony probably makes a lot of money off of the exclusive microtransactions, right? Because every now and again you see a couple of like Sony exclusive skins or whatever in the COD shop. And I'm sure they make quite a bit of money off of that. And once that heads over to the Microsoft platform, Microsoft will be making that money. I don't think, again, that they're console sellers, but clearly they're making some decent bank. And maybe I'm wrong about that. I know that the reason why it remains kind of a Sony exclusive platform is because Sony pays them a lot of money. That's the reason. If Sony didn't pay them the money, then they would just be off doing their own thing already on, you know, Microsoft's wiener. But I don't know. Overall, I just want good for the franchise. I want good for the IP. And if that means that Microsoft acquiring them is what it takes, then so be it, I say. Right? Like in an interview recently with Dexerto, which is also Charlie Intel, Infinity Ward was asked about a potential map editor for future titles, and they actually seem to express some interest in it and saying that they've been trying to work out the logistics of it for a long time, which is awesome to know. I mean, plenty of other games have great map editors, but how do you make a map editor that is balanced, that you can put on consoles? I suppose you could probably just look at Halo, because Halo has had a map editor for 20 years, and they were able to do it over 2 console generations ago. The biggest problem is that they never have enough time, right? Like a new title has to come out every single year. You do have like 6 or 7 studios working on different games, and you have 3 studios that are leading the development of those games. So you're on a 3-year cycle, but you essentially need to make a game from scratch every single year. Of course, there's a lot of copy paste from game to game, kind of like Modern Warfare 2019 into Vanguard. Black Ops Cold War, I think, was a lot less copy-paste. It seemed to be a lot of like original stuff based on the same engine, but it's hard to compare because they had like, you know, 6 months to make that entire game. But I'm getting sidetracked. The point is, they say that a map editor was actually talked about, at least. So that makes me really excited as a Zombies fan, because if Microsoft were to give them the time and the money to have a map editor real and make it a thing and allow people to create multiplayer maps? Why wouldn't you be able to allow them to make zombies maps? Like, we have the tools on PC. Custom zombies maps on PC they've always been a thing since World at War. You have a couple of titles that don't really allow for it, like Cold War and Black Ops 2, but even Black Ops 1, I'm pretty sure you were allowed to make custom maps for. There weren't a lot, but the possibility for it was still there. So the idea of that a map editor for multiplayer is possible and that it has been talked about makes me very excited as a zombies fan that map editor would be allowed to let people make custom zombies maps as well. I mean, why wouldn't you? Like, Black Ops 3 is one of the most played and most sold games on Steam because of zombies. It's unfortunate that you have like the whole hacked servers thing that allows this whatever bot to kick people offline and hack their computers and all this awful stuff. But that's why I'm also really excited for the Boy launcher. Essentially what it is just this launcher that you drop right into your Call of Duty game files, and you launch the game with that instead of like the Steam file. And it allows you to play Black Ops 3 on the developer's own custom servers, which means you're not on the Steam servers, which means you can't get hacked or booted offline. Now, because it's its own launcher and they're not actually on the Steam thing and online and all this other stuff, it also gives you access to all the DLC for free. So let me go into that a little bit more for a second. You get all the DLC for free, all the maps, multiplayer and zombies. Also get all the gobblegums for free. So once you enable it in the actual stats button in the game, you're able to go in and set yourself to max prestige, and you're able to give yourself all the gobblegums. So there is absolutely nothing that is locked from you that you have to level up, that you have to spend money on, because the whole point of the Boy launcher is to give people accessibility to the game right from the get-go. So the multiplayer over on Black Ops 3 right now, because of the Boy launcher, it's incredible. There's like 25,000 people online at all times. So if you're trying to play zombies online with randoms, you can. There's people playing. If you're trying to play multiplayer and grind through the camos again, you can. Like, there's people online right now. It's incredible. Like, this is what the community has needed for a long time. Because a lot of people agree that like Black Ops 3 is kind of one of the best CODs ever made, especially when you compare it to what has come out since. And as far as the jetpack games go, it's my favorite. But then when you compare the game as a game to other Call of Duty titles, it's kind of incredible too. But yeah, we're in a really weird state of Call of Duty right now where this whole Microsoft thing is going through. Hopefully Microsoft is going to be able to help the Call of Duty IP. All of us really, really hope that. We want nothing but the best for the franchise that we all love. But oh well, hopefully this video wasn't too sad just talking about how dead the IP is right now because of Activision. Hopefully Microsoft takes over. Oh, by the way, the Boy launcher, you can get it via a $5 donation to the guys like Patreon, which I did because I wanted to support this guy and what he's doing for the COD community. But this summer it actually goes free to play. So if you're looking to get back onto Black Ops 3 and you still don't have the $5 to, donate, wait till the summer. You'll be able to pick it up. And then at least on PC, the Black Ops 3 community will be alive once again. But either way, I think that's going to be it for this one. Take care.